I was waiting for one of them there, but nobody come forward. So are you keeping that for another programme, Graham? Oh, Graham's saying nothing. He must be.
I'm muted. Hey, I can mute myself.
Did you mute yourself? Because I never actually muted them.
Hey, listen, let's do another programme on it.
We'll do it in another programme.
May or June time. Let's have a go at it then.
No bother.
Probably the only thing I'll put into that is it's interesting from what Neil Black was saying. Apparently the structure was agreed, and then subsequently a few teams have maybe changed their minds. So that's not good to hear. But then it alludes back to the self-interest Graham was talking about earlier.
Yeah.
It's also a direct link to what Steve Ward's announcement was, because for me, this is a Mexican standoff that we've got right now with some of the Scottish teams saying, nah, you're not doing this. And I think that's where the fallout stands at this moment in time. Just my thoughts.
And we'll maybe talk about that another time. However, moving on, Stephen and I were lucky enough to speak to Brendan Brooks over the weekend. So here's the interview.
Ross and myself are now joined by former Clan and Fife forward Brendan Brooks. How are you doing, Brendan?
I'm doing good, thanks guys.
Just get you on, talk about what's happened this season, what's happened in the future. So what are your overall thoughts, how it went for you at Fife this year?
I think it was like an up and down season for our team. Individually, I had a pretty good year. Yeah, it was like I said, we had a lot of injuries as a team, and we just could never get fully healthy, and obviously we struggled against the Clan this year, which was not to my liking.
Why do you think that is? I mean, we were terrible for the most part this year, but we just seem to have your number all year. Was it?
I think at some points you guys were the only team that we could beat us, and we were beating a lot of the big clubs, Sheffield and Nottingham and Belfast. And whenever we went to play the Clan, I don't know what it was, we just could not get it going. We also never really had a full lineup for a lot of it. And but they definitely had our number. Clan, they play a physical game, and we weren't a physical team. So I think that was to the Clan's advantage.
Yeah, there was a lot of weird games against Fife as well. I think there was one that was 8-5 and things like that. So there were always high-scoring games, and there was always a lot going on. But for some reason, we couldn't beat anyone else. But when Fife came to town, it was like a guaranteed win, which is good from our perspective,
Yeah.
So what's the difference, would you say, between how things are in Fife and how things are in Braehead? Obviously, it's a smaller town up there. Do you prefer the city, or how was it?
I don't know. Glasgow was our first, or Braehead was our first stop in the UK, and we did love it, my wife and I. But Fife was good. It's a nice little town on the water, and they treat us well here. With nice apartments and things like that. You could tell it's just a little bit of a smaller club. Great fan base too. We got our fans are a little rowdy here, but definitely great support for the team.
And just one last thing, I believe your 1,000 pro game was against us in Fife. Is that correct?
Yeah, that was correct.
How did, when you started your career? Obviously, it was a long time ago now, but when you started your career, did you think that was a milestone you were ever going to reach? And how was it that night for you personally?
It was great. When I first started playing, you never think that far ahead. I never thought I'd still be playing pro hockey 20 years later. But it's something I always wanted to do. I always wanted to play as long as I can and enjoy it. I always said as soon as I stop enjoying it or feeling, I can be an impact player, I would stop playing. And, I just love the game so much. I just want to continue to do it. But on the 1000th game part of it, having my dad here was pretty emotional for my dad and myself. You know, it was a lot of years and a lot of money for my parents when I was a kid. So it just, I think it made my dad feel, you know, like it was worth it all. And same for me having my dad there.
I think it's something that a lot of the hockey mums and dads here can attest to, and a lot of the pro players like yourself look back and you know, they thank their parents if they've played that bigger part, because it's a lot of travelling, it's a lot of expense, it's a lot of money, it's a lot of time when you're watching somebody going through that, isn't it?
I think, yeah, for sure. You know, if it wasn't for my parents at a young age and the support they give me, you know, I probably wouldn't be the player I was today. You know, they made sure I was in hockey schools and skating schools and all these different things that you know, that is not free. And it's a lot of money for equipment each year, and there's just so much that goes into it to become a professional hockey player beforehand, before you're even a professional or even having a chance to make it. And, you know, the time and hours of travel my parents, even my grandparents did, driving me to different games and all over Ontario. So I think it's pretty amazing, you know, like the support. It's very important to have that support to try to be successful, I think.
Yeah, let's hear it for the hockey mums and dads and grandparents as well.
Absolutely.
Definitely.
Just touching on what you said there, you want to play until you feel like you can't contribute, or you don't enjoy it anymore. Is the plan to play on next season then?
Yeah, you know, I still feel like that I'm able to do it, and I think you know, as of right now, I'm taking it a year at a time. But as of right now, my plan is to play again next year. So we'll see where that is to be determined. But for right now, my plan is to, you know, hop on a team and be a big contributor to that.
How hard was it to move? I mean, obviously the Clan and the Flyers have that rivalry. How hard was it moving from one side of it to the other?
You know what? It's totally different, I think, from the situation I was in. I think the support I had in Braehead was pretty amazing. The way they treated me when I came back to play them as a Fife Flyer. Mm-hmm. You know, a lot of fans had given me some cheers and stuff, and it was really nice, the messages I received. And when I was playing for Braehead and we were coming into Fife, was a different story. I can remember getting into arguments with people behind the bench and all that. So it was a totally different outlook I had. But now that I have the Fife fans on my side, it was nice to have that and have Braehead fans on my side as well. So it was totally different way to look at it. That's for sure.
It's all part of being a pro, I suppose, as well. You know, you go where you can go and get the best deal for yourself, and you play where you play where you can, and if it's part of a rivalry, then it's just one of those things, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. Like when I made my decision to come to Fife, it wasn't made on, I'm going to go there because it didn't work out in Braehead for me to get the deal done, and I'm going to go to the biggest rival. That's not my thinking. It was, you know, what's best for me, because no matter what, I'm going out and playing a game I love, and I'm going to try and work as hard and help that team as best I can. So the stuff behind the scenes or within the cities, it's not something I ever look into. It's for me and what I can do and what's best for my family when I sign for a team.
And obviously you had two big additions to the family this year. Having the twins, and obviously Christina's well now, and everyone's okay with the kids. And how is that? I mean, we've got to be honest. I mean, we've seen guys coming to Braehead and they've had like even just one child, a baby coming along, and you can see there's a wee dip, but it doesn't seem to have affected. In fact, you scored more points this year than you did for us last year. How has that affected your off ice? Has it been difficult getting an adjustment to the twins?
I don't know. We definitely had some sleepless nights, that's for sure. And you know, the first they were in the hospital for the first 3 weeks before we were able to bring them home, and I think those 3 weeks were the toughest for me, trying to get sleep and that. But you know, we had a lot of support. My mother-in-law and father-in-law came over to help out. So you know, on game days or nights before games, I was able to get that extra sleep. So that was a huge help. But Yeah, it's definitely. I could see why guys are tired. Absolutely.
What is it? Bowen Cruise, isn't it?
Yeah, Bone Cruise.
Yep. And how are they doing now?
They're doing great. Yeah, they're flying along. There's lots of weight. Like I said, we had them pretty early, but now we just had a doctor's appointment the other day, and everything is going the way they want, and it's just great. It's great to know they're healthy and growing and keeping mom and dad up all the time.
Yeah, and that's your life change forever now.
Yeah, exactly. Forever.
Mine are a wee bit older, but it doesn't change much.
And we'll just talk about the playoffs. Disappointment again. Clatton and Fife obviously didn't make the playoffs this year. You had a tougher game against Belfast. We had a game where we just didn't show up against Dundee. Are you keeping an eye on how the weekend pans out, or?
Yeah, for me, I think now that it's out for me, that we're not in the playoff weekend, I'm kind of just thinking about the upcoming weeks with GB for myself. I was on the ice yesterday, skating by myself, and just trying to stay on the ice and stay ready for the big tournament. So. Yeah, that's pretty much been my focus. I'm happy for whoever wins the playoffs there, but I'm not really going to follow it. If I get a chance to watch a game, I'll watch it, but it's not something I'm going to go crazy about right now.
We spoke about for Braehead anyway. For the last 3 weeks, they'd won the Gardner Conference. The seeding thing for the playoffs was already in place, so the last 3 weeks, 6 games, they weren't really playing for much. How hard is it to keep yourself going and pick yourself back up when it gets round to all of a sudden you're playing a playoff game again?
Yeah, I think that to give Dundee their due, they were playing for their lives for the last while. Mm-hmm. I think to get into the playoffs alone, so they were running on full cylinders right there because they had to. So I think they came in against Braehead at the highest peak of their game, whereas I know Braehead had some losses right going into it, which is tough to do. I think that's the difference. I think when you're hot near the end and you're fighting for your life, and it's everything you got right at the end, and that's the way Dundee was playing, and I think they're playing really well. They beat us a couple times as well. Right before we ended up beating them the very last time, mm-hmm. But they were already in the playoffs then, so maybe they just kind of sat back. They did play their backup goalie, so they're running on all cylinders right now, and they could be a sleeper in this tournament, which is crazy to say to me.
Well, yeah, I think most of us up here, and I've got to say, when Fife for the loan. Representatives last year, I would certainly be rooting for them. I don't have that much of a bad feeling towards the guys up there. I'd root for the Scottish team when they're down there, and I'll be rooting for Dundee this weekend. Yeah, I just kind of wondered how, as a pro, how hard it is to get yourself up and down, because the way the things are structured here is completely different to where you would normally play. I think we touched on it briefly when we spoke in the podcast last year about how there's this league that's more important, and the playoffs kind of come as a sort of wee add-on at the end, whereas it's completely opposite in most other leagues around the world, isn't it?
Yeah, it's crazy, and the way it's run here, the home and home aggregate scoring, to me, it's just crazy. I don't know if I'll ever love it. I just think it kind of defeats. I think it's. I don't even know how I feel about it, to be honest. To say, I just don't. I'm just never used to it until I came here. I always like the series because I find that the better team always wins.
Do you think it's hard for some guys when they first come here, and they're playing games, maybe the first dozen games, and they don't really realise that how important they are towards this big trophy for winning the league, when they're thinking, actually aiming for the playoffs? Is it a hard thing to get a grasp of?
Yeah, I think, your coaches or, wherever, make sure that if you're not used to it, how important it is. That every game matters. Like the games, when you're playing the last place team to when you're playing the first, every point, every minute matters. And I think that part of it is amazing, that, every every game in the regular season matters. I think that part of this way of doing